Hi, welcome back to the channel. This video is the next in a series looking at the construction of an extension. Today we're talking about the drains, and this is often a problem when you're constructing an extension because the way a lot of properties have been built in the UK is they have their drainage system at the rear of the property. So when you're doing an extension, quite often you're having to build either over the existing drains or very close to those existing drains. And this graphic shows an overview of all of the houses on this road, and you can see that they're all tightly packed together. The orange section with the numbers on it is where the houses are, and the public sewer, which I've drawn on here, runs across the back of all of these properties and is live. So all of these houses, when they're flushing their toilets and emptying their sinks and baths, it's all going into this sewer and running all the way down to the far right hand side of the picture, which is where the road is, where the main sewer is that takes it away. So we're having to deal with this on a live basis. So it means that if we're doing anything with the sewer where we need to do any work to it, we need to be aware that people are constantly flushing their toilets and doing things. So we need to make sure that it stays open and able to run through. So it is something that is a bit of a problem, a bit of an issue to deal with. But if we look at the actual specifics of the house itself, we've shown this before in a previous video, the dotted line here across the middle of the property is actually where that live sewer is running, and it's sitting underneath the old extension. So we had building control came out and had a look at it, and previously in the past these things weren't very well regulated. So the old extension has been built over the manhole, and the manhole's actually still in place. And that's not allowed anymore. You're not allowed to do that for public health reasons. So we're going to have to remove that manhole. But more importantly, we're also going to have to install rodding access, which means that if there was a blockage in that long line of public sewer that I just showed you, you need to be able to put a rod in to be able to push any obstructions out of the way and clear the blockage. Here we are on site, and we've lifted up the floor from the old extension. So these are the joists that were holding that floor up, and here's the manhole that was sitting underneath the old extension. And as we zoom in, you can see the water that's running. If you look at the section of pipe that's running from left to right, you can see there's water running across that. Now that's actually coming from further up the road, from the houses that are higher up on this run of sewer. So that's where they're flushing their toilets or having a shower or something. So the theme of this video, you'll see how much disruption is caused by this work. So the mound of debris you can see there is what we've dug up just from the initial excavation. So what we're trying to do here is find the actual sewer pipe. So the yellow bucket is sitting on top of the manhole cover. We've covered that over now because obviously we don't want things to fall into it. And you can see how much we've had to dig down around it to try to expose the pipework. And this is the amount of earth that we've dug out, which we will put back in, which is why we've kept it on site rather than putting it into the skip. So a lot of excavation work. You can just see the start of the sewer pipe there. If you look down, there it is there. So that sewer pipe is running all the way down the road. That's for everybody on this road, all the houses. You just saw in the graphic, I drew that black line. So that's the live pipe. So we need to be careful of that, because if we cause damage to that pipe, then all of the sewage that's coming from the houses above us on the road will start to empty into this hole, and obviously we don't want that. That would be an absolute disaster. So we've got to be really careful with this work. Jumping outside to where we laid the foundations, you'll have seen this in the previous video. We left a small channel. We put two pieces of timber in when we were putting the concrete into the foundations to leave this channel. We're just clearing away the water that's built up in here now. And this is really to allow a rodding access pipe to be put into the garden. So we're going to have to run that from the sewer that you saw inside all the way under the additional 3 meters of extension that we're adding onto the property. And then beyond this point, so to the right of the picture you can see here, we'll have to put a small manhole cover into the garden, which would be the rodding access. That would be where you'd be able to go in and clear any blockage that builds up in the sewer itself. So just jumping back inside, we've cleared away some more of the ground, and you'll see some of the debris here. So we're building up quite an impressive amount of dirt and debris. and we're keeping that in the property rather than putting it in the skip, because we're going to put that back into the ground once we finish the work. Here's the sewer pipe. This is the section that's actually beyond the manhole cover, so that's going towards the neighbour's house. But this section here, you can see the two pipes on the left. They're the internal drainage from the house. So one's coming from the kitchen, one's coming from the bathroom. And this main pipe here is the live sewer. So this is coming from the neighbouring houses. There's 2 or 3 houses above us, and that's bringing their waste through this pipe and then beyond into the next door neighbour's property and beyond all the way through. So if you think back to that graphic I just showed you, that's the black line that's running all the way down the road. So this is live. We've got to be really careful when we're working on that pipe. And here's the old manhole cover, which we're going to now throw in the skip. Don't need that anymore. Back outside, the digging continues. So obviously when we're putting the rodding pipe in, the access pipe, it has to be at the same level as the sewer pipe. So that's obviously quite a lot lower than the floor level that we're looking at for the extension. So we're having to dig down so that the pipe can run flush and we're able to get that access in. So this is the old patio. This was previously the patio of the house. This is where the 3-metre extension is going, so you can see the foundations are running around the edge of this, and we're now just having to dig out the access to put in that rodding pipe. So a fair bit of digging required, and as we mentioned previously, because this house is a mid-terrace, so it's got properties on either side of it, it makes it difficult to get really big mechanical equipment in. So in a normal scenario, we would have a small digger would come in here and be able to do this job in a matter of minutes, but a bit more labour intensive because we're having to get people through and actually do the digging by hand, and then we're going to have to remove all of this waste by hand as well. So all this clay that's coming out here is going to have to be carried through in these buckets into the skip and then removed. So it does add quite a bit more time and cost to the job for what is relatively simple procedure of adding a rodding access. Sounds easy in theory, but actually the construction of it and the amount of work that goes in is quite a lot. Back inside, you can see exactly what's going on now. We've removed that cover, and you can see the live pipe is still bringing water through, and then the 2 pipes at the top here on the left, the white ones, they're coming from inside the house. So that's the sewer and drainage arrangement as it is currently. So we're going to keep that. We're basically going to replace these pipes, and you'll see at the end of the video exactly what we do. But this arrangement will stay in place for the existing house and the existing sewer. And all we're doing here really is adding an access rodding point under this portion here where we can see we've been digging under the wall. So that's the main objective here, is to break through this wall, dig down that channel that we're digging outside to be able to lay a pipe to access this sewer and be able to rod and clear any blockages in the future. Here we are back outside, and the objective here is to basically break through the ground to make the channel for the pipe to be able to come through. So more drilling and digging work required to get this excavation done so that we can then lay the pipe and put the rodding access in. So just showing you the amount of manual labour that's involved in this construction. So here we are back inside. It's the same job, so we're still tunnelling through, trying to make that breakthrough to get the pipe to be able to feed through into the garden. Pretty noisy, messy, unpleasant work this. The guy is lying on top of the sewer pipe and obviously the sewage pipes that are coming from inside the house, so not particularly pleasant, not something that anybody would really want to be doing on a Monday morning, but has to be done. And once it's all done and dusted, then this should never need to be done again. There should not be any need to mess around with this sewer pipe in the future. We've now jumped forward and the channel has been completed. So you can see the back wall is where the old extension wall is. We're bringing the extension forward 3 meters, so you can see where the foundations have been laid. And then the channel here has been dug out. So we've had to remove the section that was under the old patio, and then we left a gap in our own foundations to lay this pipe. And you can see clearly now where the pipe is going to be laid, and that's coming all the way through, and it's going to go beyond the extension into the garden. But you can see we've dug down at the same level as the sewer pipe that you've seen internally, and we've now broken through the wall, so we've got a nice tunnel to be able to pass that pipe out of. So everything is now ready for us to start doing the actual laying of the pipework. And here's the same view from the other side, from internally. So you can see where the sewer pipe is at the bottom, and then there's the nice gap there for us to be able to join the rodding access and connect up the new drainage system for the house. Okay, so it's now time to make the connections. Now you can see there are 3 pipes here that we have capped off. So the one between the guy's legs is actually the live sewer pipe. So we've put a plug on that. So that means that anything that's coming live down that pipe will just be sitting in the pipe for the time being, which means we've only got a short period of time to be able to do this work, because otherwise all the sewage will back up for the other people and could cause a major problem. So as soon as you cut the sewer pipe, you've really got to be focused on what you're doing and get the job done quickly and efficiently, because you're stopping the live sewage coming through from the rest of the road. So we're having to remove the old clay pipe here, and we're going to replace the clay pipe with new plastic pipework. The replacement of the old clay pipes with plastic is all compliant with building regulations. Nobody's using clay pipes anymore. It's a legacy from the past. So building control are happy for this section to be replaced with plastic pipe. But now it's really important to make sure that we get really good connections on all of this drainage, because this is all going to be buried underneath the extension. We're going out a further 3 meters. So this is going to be about 4 or 5 meters into the house. So you don't want to ever have to come back and dig this up and do any work on this. So this is basically fit and forget time. We're going to put this in and it's never going to be accessed again. Apart from that rodding access that we're putting in, the manhole cover will be closed off and there won't be any opportunity to come and dig all this up again in the future. So we're now putting this pipework in, and we've got to make sure that this work is done perfectly, because not only are we depending on it in this house, but the whole rest of the road, the sewage runs under this property. So we've got to make sure that there's no issues in the future. So it's really now a case of connecting that access rodding section, which is what's going into the garden, which is where that long pipe is being laid now, and then connecting the parts together. So you can see here we've got a slight angle, so it's a nice bend going into what the sewer pipe is. And the reason for that is obviously when you're putting your rodding access in, you need it to be able to go into that pipe and also to be able to be pulled back out again. So this is just a case of laying all the pipework and then connecting it all up before we release that cap on the sewer and let it go live again. So here we are, we've got the connection now from the main sewer, and we've also connected one of the drains from the house, so you can see we've joined that all up. And then we've got the rodding access which is going out into the garden. So we just need to now connect this last pipe on the right hand side on the bottom here, and then join up the other end of the sewer on the right hand side, and that will be the full connection done. But this is the pipe that's going out to provide the rodding access, and then the main sewer is waiting to be reconnected to the other side, which we've also put a connector onto the old clay pipe on the far side, so it's all ready to be reconnected up and it will be live again. And here we are with the final setup. So you can see that we've got the 2 connections coming from the house, which are at the bottom here. We've got the main sewer pipe which is running straight across, so we've cut that section out and replaced it with long-standing plastic, so that'll be good for at least the next 100 years. And then on the right hand side you can see the old clay pipe where we've connected into. So this is the new drainage arrangement, and the whole reason we've had to do this was solely to provide rodding access in the garden. Now this work has been completed, the next stage for us is to get building control out to sign off on this. So they're coming tomorrow to check all these connections and that they're happy with the quality of the pipe and all of the way it's been constructed. We don't think there'll be a problem with that. And then once they've signed off on it, we'll be able to close this over and carry on with the construction of the extension itself. Just jumping outside, this is the access point. So we will put a small manhole cover over the top of this. We'll obviously cut it down so that it's at ground level, and then that will be the access point in the future. If there's ever a blockage in that sewage pipe, you'd be able to feed in a rod or a jetting system to be able to clear that. And then you can see the length of pipe. This is all going to be buried underneath the new extension, because obviously we're coming out an additional 3 meters. You can see there's a slight kink in the way we've joined the two pipes. That's basically because the two were not lined up exactly level, so we've just had to put a slight kink in there. That won't be a problem. Building control will be okay with that. Hopefully you found that useful and entertaining. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you on the next video in this series.